Hello, this is Jennifer with Studio J Creations, and today we're going to do a project from the new annual catalog, the 2022-23 annual catalog, and this project is going to highlight the in colors. So here are the new in colors: Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, Tahitian Tide, Orchid Oasis, and Starry Sky. So we're going to use one of the sweets from in the catalog. So on page 90 of the catalog, we're going to use the Sun Prince suite, and this suite has 4 different items with it. It's got a stamp set, it has dies, it has an embossing folder, and it has designer series paper. We're going to use 3 of those 4. We're not going to use the designer series paper because while that does have the Starry Sky in color, it does not feature the other 4, and then it has 4 additional colors. So we're going to focus on those in colors and use those 3 products from there. So the first product that we are going to use is the Nature's Prince stamp set from that suite, and so here that is in front of you, and you can see that I've already put some of those images on the Stamparatus. So I'm going to ink that up with the Parakeet Party, which is the green one. Now, one tip when using your Stamparatus, I find, because this has a hinge and it kind of has some give, if I try to ink it with it just laying against the table like that, it's going to give, it's not going to ink very well. So I find putting something underneath there, whether the box from a stamp set or a pack of paper or something under there, gives it a little bit more stability when I'm inking my images. So I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna ink the images. I'm not real worried about getting any ink onto the edges. You can see I hit the edge of that one because when I put it down, I'm gonna be firm but gentle when I push down the images. So I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm just going to hinge this onto here. You can see I have a silicone mat here. This silicone mat is available in the catalog. I'll have a link to all the products I've used today in the show notes. This is an older version. The newer one has Stampin' Up branding on it, and it is a full 6x6. I find just having that little layer of the silicone pad really helps the images ink well. So I'm going to hinge this down. I'm going to push, like I said, firmly, but not too hard because I don't want to have those edges ink on my paper. So then I'm going to lift it up. If there's anything that I feel didn't ink as well as maybe I want it to, I'm going to go through and I'm going to ink again. And because I use the Stamparatus, it's going to come down in the exact same spot where it was. And it's just going to ink that a little bit more crisply, but it's a nice image and it's not going to, it lined up perfectly. So then what I can do is I can flip it around, I can do it again. I can use my chamois to clean that off. I could switch to another color. Right now I'm just going to stick with the Parakeet Party, and then we're going to go on and we're going to cut those out. So here's my Stamp and Emboss machine, and we are going to cut those out using, I've got my sandwich here. So I've got plates 1, 2, and both of the 3s, and we are going to use, we're going to take the greeting frame and put it around the best wishes and happy thoughts. I'm going to center my paper here. And then I'm going to line my flowers up so that they line up right on those images. Now there's only one of the greeting frames, so you can see on this one I have 2 greetings on here, but I'm only going to be able to cut out 1 at a time because there's only 1 greeting frame in this set of dies. And again, this set of dies comes with that Sun Prince suite. It's available in the suite. It's also available in a bundle with the Nature's Prints stamp set. So if you don't want the full suite, you could get that bundle and you could get these two items, the dies as well as the stamp set. So I'm going to take this, roll it through. You can hear it cracking into those plates. As you can see, the plates, you can use them, reuse them, flip them over. You can see I've used mine quite a bit. Probably time to maybe buy some new ones. So there we've got those images cut out. And I'm going to set those aside. Ready to use on our project. And then I am going to use some of the others from in that die set, and I'm going to cut those out from the in color paper. So again, this is the Parakeet Party, and I'm going to just get all of those images in there. So again, I'm using 1, 2, and both of the 3 plates. With these detailed ones, I find I like to go a little bit slower through the machine. It cuts them out a little bit better if I can go more slowly. Just some of that, those precision cuts. Also, the precision magnetic cutting pad works really well. I'm not using that today because these really stayed in place without it. So you can see that cut all those out very nicely. All the different images. So we're going to set those aside to use for the card as well. There's a wreath image. What you can do with the wreath is you can keep it all together as the wreath and use it on the card, or because there's so many nice images there, just different leaves, you could also snip it apart and use that on your card for either as the wreath or just different greenery. So we're going to set all that aside. And I'm going to use the third item from that suite that we're going to use today, and that is the embossing folder, although I set it on my platform. All right, so here's the platform. This time we're going to be using 1 and 4 because we have a 3D embossing folder. This is the leaf prints, and I have a 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece of white paper. We're going to slip that under there between the 1 platform and 4. Roll that through. And I like to roll it through and then roll it back again so that it gives a nice crisp image. So we're going to pull that out there, and you can see the prints on there. So that we're going to use for our card front. So then I'm going to set my Stampin' Emboss machine aside. And we've got a standard Parakeet Party piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock cut in half to 5.5 by 8.5, and then I'm going to fold that into the standard card base size. Line those up. And then I have the embossed piece that is cut just a little bit smaller than that. Here's where I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal, flipping my wrist up as I put that on there. I find that is the key to getting the adhesive to release. If you just do this and pull away, sometimes it can stretch. So this and flipping really helps the adhesive release and not stretch. So we're going to center this on the card base. Push that down. Now I'm going to use some of the items that I cut out with the die cuts. So here I've got a couple little pieces in that to just pop out. Those all came out pretty easily. So I'm going to be using the liquid glue. I love this. This works so nicely. It's got this little tip end on it. So just put a few dots of glue here and there. This just really adheres a number of things, paper to paper especially, but also smaller embellishments to paper, and you're going to see that in a little bit. We're going to use some embellishments that we're going to adhere to the paper. I don't worry about doing every single leaf as long as things are kind of, there's some glue around it all over, it'll stick very nicely. So we're going to take that, I'm going to stick it right here, and then to get it to stick, it just needs a little bit of pressure and it sticks very nicely. So we've got that there. So next I'm going to take the greeting that we cut out with the die cut, best wishes and happy thoughts, and I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to put on the back to get those to pop out a little bit. I'm just going to do 3 of those to pop that up. Pull those off of the back, and then I'm going to stick that one right there. And then we're going to take some of those other images. Here are some of those that I cut out with the dies. All right, here's a few more of them. So I think what we're going to do is, I'm going to use that one. And one of these tucked in there. So that's what I'm going to do there. Lots of different options with this stamp set and these dies. So again, I'm using the liquid glue, just a few dots around on the back. I could use the snail adhesive. This is a big enough image, the snail adhesive would work, but when I'm putting it on texture and on top of the die cut, the snail may not adhere quite as well, whereas this glue is going to get down there in all those little crevices. We're just going to tuck that in there, push it down to get it to adhere, and then I'm going to do the same with this little one. Just a couple dots on there, and I'm going to tuck it right into there. So then next we've got the I've got the baker's twine, which is one of the accessories in colors this time. So I'm going to use that baker's twine in the parakeet party. I'm going to stick that through here. Actually going to tie it right around the front of the card. Pull that end up a little bit. It's about, if you wanted to pre-cut it, this length is about 13 inches, but I like to not pre-cut it if I can, so that I can just get it in there, tie that off, and then not have to have any waste on the baker's twine. So grab that, tighten that up, and then I'll just trim off the end and no waste at all. So there, I've got that. Now I am going to add one more little accessory. So this is the Effervescent Elements. This is new in the catalog this year. Now these are basically little round, they're completely round glass. They're really designed to be used in shakers. But I thought they would be a fun element on these cards because they'll really look kind of like they are little drops of dew on the plants. Now, these are not flat like some of the other ones that you can get in the accessories, but I found that if I nestle them in some of the little crevices here, use a little bit of the liquid glue, they stay on there just fine. So I'm just going to do 3 of them. I'm going to do a dot of glue in 3 different spots. And then there are 2 sizes. It's kind of hard to see that here. Let me see. And of course, I'm only getting out the big ones. There are big ones and there are little ones in here. Let's see if I can get it to where you can see the multiple sizes. There's some big ones and some little ones, but I'm going to use the big ones for this card. So I put those dots of glue in there. I'm just going to push it right down into that little crevice. And it's going to nestle right down in there. And like I said, I really love how it kind of looks like little dots of glue. Now, you should be fine to mail something like this, although if you have a lot of them that you want to mail, I would suggest maybe using the smaller ones or maybe using the flat, some of the flat embellishments instead. This would be great for a hand-delivered card. So there you go. And I'll show you some of the others I've done with the same set using all of the different colors. You can see some I used the small Effervescent Elements and some I used the big ones. Even this one I did not put these down in the crevices. I'm not sure if you can see those there, but there are the little round items on there looking like dewdrops, and they're staying on just fine. So those seem to be adhering without any problem, even though they're round. But again, they're more designed for a shaker card. So here you go, in color from the 2022-23 catalog. All of the items that we used will be in the show notes, studiojcreations.com, to see what the host code is for this month. Use the host code when making an order and you are eligible to win free items each month. So I'll do a drawing every month for some free items for everyone who used that host code. So questions or comments in the comments, and thanks so much for watching.